All right, we'll go ahead and get started in just a little bit. The other trustees will be heading on over. Just to let everybody know that's in attendance today. We've been, the listening session at 1:30 went all the way to 3 o'clock, and then we jumped right into closed session, and that went right all the way up to 4 o'clock. So we'll get started in about five minutes or so with the open session, but just giving everybody a break to stand up, stretch, all of that good stuff. All right. Get started here. We've got, I think we're missing Jeff Cundy, but we can give it just a minute, see if Jeff joins us. I think we've got everybody else, Maggie, Terry, Mariana, Don, Jocelyn, all right. I know they didn't have power out there, so let me just get my stuff up and then we'll go ahead and okay. Okie doke. So let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and reconvene to the open session. Just make sure that, just confirm that everybody's video and audio is working. Start with Maggie Fishman, Trustee Fishman.
I'm here.
All right, Trustee Lindley.
Here.
Trustee Edgar.
I'm here.
Trustee Battenfeld.
Here.
Trustee Martinez.
Here.
Trustee Cundy. Got to unmute yourself.
Yeah, here.
Okay, perfect. And then student trustee Jocelyn Toscano.
Here.
Perfect. All right, we got everybody. So let's go ahead and start. We'll start with, hold on, sorry, just pulling up my stuff. Announcement of reportable actions taken in closed session. There was none. So we'll move over to approval of the regular meeting of the Board of Trustees minutes.
So move to approve.
Second.
All right, motion by Trustee Edgar, seconded by Trustee Fishman. So roll call vote.
Student Trustee Toscano.
Yes.
Trustee Battenfeld.
Aye.
Trustee Edgar.
Aye.
Trustee Fishman.
Aye.
Trustee Cundy.
Aye.
Trustee Lindley.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Gotta unmute yourself, Trustee Martinez.
Aye. I forgot.
Trustee Bones.
Aye. And I should go over just kind of the disclaimers. So we're doing the Board of Trustees virtually due to the COVID-19. We're going to, I don't have my cheat sheet in front of me, so I'm just doing this off the whim. We're going to try to conform to as best as possible. It'll be just the trustees and Dr. Chong and the student trustee and media support as the panelists. If any of the trustees have any questions, Dr. Chong might call on any of the VPs for clarification. We'll also have any of the presentations or folks presenting on anything. You will be promoted to a panelist where you can then start your video. Public comments, we will have a section for public comment to speak on either agenda items or non-agendized items. We'll still follow all of the 3 minutes per person as best as we can. You will be, if you can use the raise your hand function to let us know that you have a public comment, I will then promote you to a panelist to be able to speak, and then once you're done speaking, you will be taken off the panelist, sort of like walking to the lectern and then walking back. Everything's going to be done by roll call vote, so all of our votes, due to requirements, have to be done by roll call. And I think that's about it. I'm sure I'm missing some stuff, but everything else from all of our other board meetings, it's all the same. So, all right, let's go ahead and continue on here. So next up we do have public comment section. So if anybody has a public comment, go ahead and use the raise your hand function. And let's go ahead and start with DeLachey Benson. Are you there, DeLachey?
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Everyone can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, my name is DeLachey Carmona Benson, and I just wanted to hop on here to tell you a little bit about myself real quickly. I am the co-president of BSU. I am the president of AID, which is Advocacy, Inclusion, Diversity, and Equity. And I'm also co-president of UBL, which is Uplifting Black Leaders. On top of that, I'd also like to introduce myself as the president of our student body now at SRJC. And as president of our student body, I'd like to invite you guys all to an SGA meeting. One of my priorities this year is to get to know each one of you guys personally and work together. And so I hope that you take me up on my invitation to come to SGA and let us know as a group what is going on and key us in on your decisions that you're making for our students. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, DeLachey. And yeah, I'm sure some of the trustees would love to take you up on that offer. We can probably work with you to send out an email or something like that, and we can coordinate that. All of the trustees won't be able to join at the same time because of Brown Act requirements, but I'm sure 1, 2, or 3 of us could join at a time. All right, next is Ann Donegan. Ann, are you there? Maybe having some technical issues. I'm not sure. Sometimes if your speakers aren't set on the right setting, down in the bottom left, there's a little arrow. You can choose which, I'm sorry, microphone setting, because we can't hear you. And we just heard you just a little bit ago in the listening session, so. Gonna have to move on. I don't have any other public comments. And if it's on a specific item or anything like that, you'll have the opportunity to speak during the item as well. I'm sorry that it's not working. You definitely aren't muted, so it's probably some sort of microphone issue. All right, Anne, I'm sorry. If you want to, you can also submit a, if you want to send something to Zara, we can have her read it. And I can do that at any point during the meeting as well. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move on. Any other public comments? Don't see any. So we'll go ahead and go on to our special presentation, Introduction of New Regular Faculty. Dr. Jane Sadalna-Talley, turn it over to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Board President Burns, trustees, Dr. Chong, and members of the college community. It is my distinct pleasure this evening to present to you SRJC's new regular faculty for fall 2020. If we were sitting in the boardroom, I would hope to see some of them in the audience, and I'm really sorry that this kind of forum doesn't allow for that. I'm liking to think that all 34 of them are out there enjoying this moment, but I also know that some of them are also could potentially be teaching. Normally they would be, but this is a flex day, so again, I'm hoping that they're in the audience. Numbering 34, this is one of the largest faculty cohorts the college has ever hired. Just a reminder that last December, as a result of the early retirement incentive program, we had quite a number of our veteran faculty retire, and to meet our faculty obligation number, we had to replace those. And I would tell you that all but one of these 34 was hired via Zoom. Because we were right in the middle of our hiring cycle when the pandemic hit last March. I will remember each one of these faculty for their courage and the way they hung in there with us to join SRJC's faculty. SRJC was among only a handful of colleges across the state that continued to recruit faculty in the face of the COVID-19 crisis. I talked to many people who were amazed that we were continuing on with that. I want to express my gratitude to the committee members, faculty, department chairs, deans, our EEO monitors, classified professionals, executive assistants, and HR staff who persisted under some of the most difficult circumstances we have ever faced and struggled. They themselves were struggling through going remote and supporting our students. And everyone remained focused, kind, welcoming, and committed to hiring this group of faculty. You've all received in your board packet a faculty directory, which gives you pictures and a little bit of a brief bio on each one of them. Tonight, what I will do is give you a little bit of an overview of who these 34 are. Two of the faculty that we hired were members of the student services side of the house in counseling. And both of those, remarkably, those folks came up through the classified support staff, which was a wonderful opportunity for them to be promoted into these great positions. And then 32 of them came out of, were on the academic affairs side. And I want to thank Pedro and his team for the work that they did in bringing on doing the work to hire our counseling colleagues. 6 of the faculty that we hired were in career education disciplines, 26 were in academic disciplines, and 3 were in allied roles. There were 19 departments involved. Some of those departments hired 3 or 4 faculty, which was a heavy lift on their part. In the earlier listening session, talking about faculty hiring and employee hiring in general, there was a little bit of a mention around PhDs. 35% of the faculty that we hired had PhDs, and of the faculty of color that were hired, 31% of those have PhDs. We actually have 1 in progress, and so by the time she's all finished up, 38% of our faculty of color will have PhDs. A little over half of the employees or faculty that we hired are women. And as you heard Sarah Hopkins mention, 38% or 13 of those were faculty of color. And I'm really proud to say that if they reached a semifinalist stage, they got hired. They were that good. They were just some of the most outstanding faculty that I've ever had the privilege of hiring. With regard to experience, it ranged from 3 years of experience to 29 years of experience. Some people had spent quite a number of years in related vocational positions. A total of 411 years of full part-time instruction and related vocational experience. 53% of our new faculty had worked exclusively in the state of California. 35% have experience working out of state, and 12% have international experience, either were themselves international students, or had taught internationally, which brings a wonderful flavor to our faculty colleagues. And then I want to mention, and this is, I think this is kind of the part that really registered with me, 38% of the faculty that we've hired were graduates of community colleges. And many of them told stories of wanting to come back and give back to the system of higher education that gave them their opportunity. And a remarkable 26% of the faculty that we hired are SRJC alums, which means that SRJC did such a great job. They told stories about being mentored by some of our faculty that are still on staff. And they are just fully committed to SRJC. And then lastly, half of this cohort taught for SRJC. And so it's a group that is committed to community colleges. They are committed to SRJC. And so I'm tremendously proud to welcome this group of colleagues. I've described them as game changers. I believe that they are the future of this institution. And so thank you for giving me an opportunity to introduce them and to welcome them to SRJC. I anticipate they will have a long and storied history with us. Thank you.
Jane. Thank you so much for the presentation. We will go ahead and move on. I do have Zara has Ann Donegan's comments, so I will, Zara, if you would like to read Ann's comments.
Thank you, President Burns. Anne is still in the meeting, but she apologizes for her technical issues. President Burns and board members, I see in today's agenda that the board is considering amending Dr. Chong's contract so that he would receive a $15,000 stipend if he is still working for the district in June of 2022. My following comments have nothing to do with Dr. Chong personally or professionally, but I think this is not the time to approve this extra cost. Many of our colleagues and our students are currently underemployed or fully unemployed. Giving a stipend to someone who is already handsomely paid is a bit tone deaf in our current economic climate. $15,000 could be used to offer 3 more much needed classes for our students, or the district could use this $15,000 to provide students with more laptops, Wi-Fi hotspots, free books, and or free food. Thank you for considering.
All right, thank you. And we will go ahead and move on to the next item on the agenda, which is our updates. And I will start with our Board Facilities Committee. Trustee Lindley.
Thank you, Jordan. The Board Facilities Committee met on September 1st. Update was provided on solicitations in progress and purchasing items submitted for Board of Trustees approval today, September 9th. Robert Ethington and Kate Jolly presented an update on the student housing project, including presenting the ground lease, coordination agreement, and various other required contracts that will be presented for approval at today's meeting. Update on IT and media projects, FAC Ops, and major capital projects were provided. Highlights include IT is continuing to deploy image return laptops for staff, faculty, student, and student worker use in Santa Rosa and Petaluma. Media services supported faculty in the first virtual semester launch, and there were very few problems with the hundreds of Zoom-based classes. Bennett Martin and David Rapp from Strata Architects presented the proposed design of the new SRJC Foundation building. This new facility will consist of offices, break room, and conference room. LED project is 90% complete, and work has started on the punch list. Petaluma Science Edition, completion date is October 2020. On Petaluma Student Life Project, glazing storefront system installation is in progress. Button Foundation, building demolition is scheduled for September 17th, 2020. Petroncelli roof demolition is complete, and new metal roof will be completed this month. Emeritus Circle improvement drawing is complete and is pending bid date. This project is widening the parking on the west side of Emeritus, which will make it a 2-lane traffic. It's part of the traffic calming efforts. Lindley Center for STEM Education construction will start September 15th, 2020. Doyle Library first floor improvements will be halted due to a delay in delivery of fixtures and materials. That concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Trustee Lindley. And next I've got a Schoen Farm Foundation, Trustee Cundy.
The Schoen Farm Foundation Board of Directors met at 3 p.m. on August 12th via Zoom. Dr. Chong updated the board on the district's shift to online instruction and services. Dean Benjamin Goldstein reported full classes in the Agricultural and Natural Resources Department and progress on Measure H construction at Schoen Farm. The July Wine Club release and sequential weekly, I can't say that word, weekly curbside pickups have been a success. Students in the online wine industry event planning course contributed many great ideas. The board discussed sales channels for the new reserve wine label. The board reviewed the Schoen Farm Foundation financial statement and was pleased with the healthy profit in the fiscal year 2019 and 20. The next board meeting is scheduled for December 2020, date to be determined. This concludes my report.
All right, thank you. And Board Finance Committee, Trustee Battenfeld.
On September 4th, 2020. The only agenda item was the 2020-21 adopted budget. Kate Jolly went through the budget book, highlighting the budget revenue and expense assumptions, the 2019-20 ending financial information, and the adopted budget for 2020-2021 for the various funds and the state deferrals. The committee asked several questions regarding some of the presentation detail. Kate will be giving a presentation later in the meeting to present the budget to the full board for approval and answer any additional questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you. College President Report, Dr. Chong.
Thank you, President Burns. I'm really delighted to announce that we were informed by Congressman Mike Thompson's office that we were granted an HSI grant award. It's for $3 million. It's for 5 years, beginning this year. I really want to appreciate Dean Robert Holcomb, Pedro Avila, faculty members Laura Larquet, Luz Navarrete, Hector Delgado, and others from LSFA for supporting it. This grant will allow us to really provide much needed support for Latinx students, and we're really looking forward to implementing it as we did the first round. And we've learned a lot of lessons from things from the first round grant that we received, and hopefully we're going to build on those successes, make improvements, and go forward. Also want to update you about BSU demands. One of the demands for ethnic studies, I really want to appreciate Academic Senate President Julie Thompson and our own Vice President of Academic Affairs, Jane Saldana-Talley. They put together a call out for participants to begin the planning process to establish ethnic study programs. We also have made some great progress with our scholarship for the Black students. We've raised about $35,000, which includes $10,000 from Redwood Credit Union. I really want to appreciate Senator Mike McGuire for including the Black Student Union scholarship as part of the Chili Feed. I know many of you were there. Many of the Black Student Union people came, as well as Regina Mahari from our office as well, so our college. We're making progress in that area as well. I know many of you are still very patient around the COVID-19 and our decision to go remote. We really want to maintain the health and safety of our employees and our students. As you must read every day in the newspaper that there's large spreads on college campuses throughout the nation, and SRJC certainly does not want to be one of them. So I appreciate your support there. We're also going to be having a review team from a PRT visit. It's called the Peer Review Team, coming on October 19th. This is a group of peers from other colleges who are going to look at helping us with two areas that I think we need some work on. One is on streamlining our shared governance system and promoting greater civility at the college. And the second is developing an enrollment management plan as we go forward with all of the different natural disasters and challenges and global warming we've been experiencing, as well as the definite shortage of affordable housing, it's always going to have an impact on our future enrollment. And I'm pleased to say that our student housing project, through the leadership of Pedro Avila, Robert Ethington, and Kate Jolly, is proceeding forward with the anticipated date of fall of 2022 to open. So with that, I conclude my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Chong, and we'll move over to the bond update. Sarah Fernandez.
Good afternoon, President Burns, Board of Trustees, Dr. Chong, and members of our community, reporting from the office today. We continue to make good progress on all capital project plans, adhering to COVID-19 and OSHA safety guidelines, and managing through the current fire season and power shutdowns. As I previously reported, the 707 Elliott property will be demolished and a new facility will be built for the foundation. A design was presented to BFC by Strata Architects, and I'd like to share some quick highlights of the design. The new building will be built in the same area as the old, taking advantage of the existing parking lot and driveway. The 2,500 square foot interior layout will accommodate a large multi-use conference room, which opens out into an outdoor patio to accommodate all kinds of events. The rest of the building comfortably fits the foundation staff and all the required workspaces. The exterior finishes were selected carefully to match the new architectural culture of the northwest part of the campus, with the new Jeff Kunde Hall and the up-and-coming Lindley Center for STEM Education and the new student housing building. The color scheme is very similar to the Jeff Kunde Hall. Two roof color variations were presented, a red, as you can see on your screen, and the charcoal. The charcoal has been the most popular, with almost no one selecting the red. Other updates on our program on the Petaluma campus. We continue to work with the federal representatives to finalize our contract for design, which we will bring to you at the next board meeting. The recording studio is making great progress. We're moving right along with that one. And the science edition is pretty complete. They'll start landscaping later this week, and furniture is also coming in this week with the expected completion for next month. The Student Life project has a lot of great activity going on. A lot of the exterior concrete has already been poured, and we have a couple of large pours coming up in the next couple of weeks. On the interior, they're starting to install the drywall and finishes. On the Santa Rosa campus, the Penrochelli roof is almost complete. They started installing the new metal roof. The central plant project, we had a bid opening with several bidders. There are issues that we are still managing on this bid. And so we won't have that one to present to you for approval today. The fiber ring project held its kickoff meeting last week, and they'll be starting actual work on campus in the next couple of weeks. And then the demolition of our Button and Foundation building is scheduled for later this month. The Lindley Center for STEM Education, we are still waiting for approval from the state on proceeding with construction. In the meantime, we are taking care of our several preliminary duties, taking care of some of the execution of the contract so that when we do receive the notice to proceed from the contract, from the state, we're able to proceed immediately. We are in the process of planning a virtual groundbreaking ceremony, which we're very excited about. And hopefully that will be presented to you next month as well. At the Doyle Library, we are pretty much complete with the project. There's a couple of material items that are stuck at some of the shipping loading docks due to COVID-19 safety issues. So we've wrapped up the project for now. Everything is nice and clean. And as soon as those materials arrive, we will complete this project with the addition of 2 new classrooms. At Schoen Farm, the barn upgrades are moving right along. We'll start the installation of the roof this week. The produce processing project is currently out to bid, and we are expecting bids to come in at the end of this week on Friday. And the Lark and Beck Temps relocation design has been approved by DSA and will be going out to bid soon. We have some projects for you to approve today. We bid the Busman Hall alterations. We had 6 bidders bid on this project. Again, the low bid came in at more than 10% under our estimated budget, which tends to be the trend on most of our bids now. So we are definitely capitalizing on the current situation and getting low bids. That contract is up for approval on your agenda today. The district security system upgrade project, that is a design build, and we did have requests for qualifications. From those qualification submittals, 4 were submitted, 3 were qualified, and those 3 design build entities submitted proposals, and the proposed design build team is Johnson Controls, JCI, with TLCD for a contract of $6 million that is up for approval for you today as well. As I mentioned, the Schoen Farm Produce Processing Facility opens on Friday, and we hope to bring that for your approval next week. And we have several other projects that are up for bid in the next couple of weeks. Some of the other items that are up for approval for you today, we have a change order number 3, and I believe this is the last one for the first floor renovation of Doyle. We have the specialty inspection and lab testing services, or CTS, for the Lindley Center for STEM Education project. We have 2 change orders, one each in the Santa Rosa campus and one for the Petaluma campus for the LED upgrades. And then, as I mentioned, the district-wide security project design build contract. And that concludes my report.
All right. Any questions for the bond update? All right. We will go over to the student trustee report. Jocelyn?
Hello. Give me just one sec while I'm gonna bring it up. I have something written down. Okay. So, hello everyone. I would like to address, I would like to say a report and also an update on some of the things that I have been appointed to. So first of all, really quickly, per students' demands, I would like to address the recent events that happened in regards to the comments made by Daniel Richard towards Lauren Cervais and her effort in creating a more welcoming environment for Black, Indigenous people of color. I believe that it was very disgusting as a student of color myself. I commend what Lauren did and the people that spoke up on her behalf and supported her. We do not need this type of behavior at the SRJC because students look for examples and leaders on campus, and those tend to be the faculty and staff. What type of a message are we sending towards our students if we allow this type of behavior to go unchecked? We're allowing other students who share similar discriminative points of view to feel their behavior is also okay and justified. We are opening the floodgates for students to feel unsafe in this learning environment at SRJC. Where students don't feel comfortable in approaching, let alone disclosing to faculty and staff if they believe that some of these faculty and staff harbor these ideas. This also goes in part with the BSU demands for a Black Ethnic Studies department on how can a school establish such a center with problematic staff in the root of the problem. The low percentage rate of bi-POC faculty and staff can speak as to why this behavior is still at the SRJC. I know this is a matter that is handled through HR, and I've been seeing and listening a lot of students speak up and reach out about this incident, and I'm just sharing the overall consensus of what students have come to me with. On another note, I wanted to report that I'm currently working with some SGA members to coordinate people to come in and talk about the November elections, as well to speak about some of the propositions to SGA that they can vote on and whether to support or fund them monetarily. I've also been added to the Black Ethnic Studies Task Force and help to create that as well. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jocelyn. Let's go ahead and move on to any other board member comments. Are there any board members that would like to, any updates or comments? All right, seeing none, then we will go ahead and move over to reports. First up, I've got Julie Thompson.
Thank you. Board President Burns, members of the board, Dr. Chong, college community. This has been quite a week, and I find that I am grateful for the structures like monthly board meetings and bi-weekly Senate meetings that bring us together for discussion, reaffirmation of our shared values, and collaborative problem solving. So thank you. The Senate is engaged in a number of projects, each of which is at a different stage of development. The Guided Pathways Work Group. Work groups have recommenced their work. I'm very much looking forward to hearing their recommendations, which will come to the Senate in October. After the Senate deliberates and determines which recommendations it will pursue, my expectation is that the Senate will immediately turn to the design phase. The work groups are finalizing a number of exciting ideas that will support our students on their educational journeys, and I hope that you will join us in October to hear those recommendations. The Senate continues to work its way through the BSU demands. For example, we are discussing equity-based faculty professional development in support of the faculty's cultural competency. And we are also addressing the subject of the college's stewardship of its resources to promote consistency between our values and budget allocation. These are just two examples of Senate discussions. The Senate starts but does not end with discussion. This Senate will be satisfied with work and results only. Today is the deadline, moving on to the next item. Today is the deadline for faculty members to submit their names for consideration for the task force that will do the foundational work on ethnic studies and Black studies programs at the college, as Dr. Chong mentioned a moment ago. The task force will include faculty members, students, classified staff, and administrators. The Senate is partnering with Dr. Jane Saldana-Talley on this project. Task force members will be announced at the Senate meeting on September 16th. We are very excited to be initiating this work. Regarding diversification of the faculty, at our retreat on August 28th, and thank you to those of you who were able to join us, we had a, quote, thinking outside the box brainstorming session of creative ideas that can support the college's efforts to further diversify the faculty, because we know that there are actions that we can engage in now, that we don't have to wait for the revision of the faculty hiring policy. We also know that some departments have made significant progress in diversifying their faculties because they were consciously committed to it. So while the Senate will indeed finish revising that policy, we know that it's possible to do better in advance of the policy work's completion. I would also like to say that good ideas require investments of time and often financial resources. Everyone is stretched very thin. I would like to suggest that as we clean up our committee structure and I hope end up with a much leaner committee list, we will free up the faculty's service hours for work projects and ad hoc task forces, such as the ones that my colleagues Brenda Fleiswith-Hawks, Greg Granderson, and Rhonda Findling mentioned during the earlier listening session. For example, cohort hiring and support and internship programs. Other ideas include providing applicants with guidance and support right on our website, and thereby demystifying the application process, revising the language on our job announcements to make them welcoming. I think they're not right now, and providing a way for would-be applicants to reach out to an SRJC faculty member to establish a connection and ask questions. We know that networking and mentoring are powerful forces in an academic job search, and we can provide those. Finally, after serving on the Senate for 14 years, Eric Thompson has decided that it's time for him to step back from Senate responsibilities. I would like to thank him for his years of service to the Senate, the college, and the faculty through many challenging years. I wish him well in his future endeavors. His departure coincides with the Senate's conversations about reconfiguring our Senate Executive Committee. We will miss him and his wealth of knowledge about Senate matters, but Eric is a generous soul and has offered to be a resource in the event that the Senate has need of him. I thank Eric for his service, and I would like to close by saying that while this is a big change for us, the Senate is strong right now, and it is doing good work, and it's ready to step in and fill that void that he has left. Thank you.
And thank you, Julie. Next up, Kathy Mathis, classified.
Hi, coming to you from very smoky Windsor. It looks like 7:30 out here instead of 4:30. Good afternoon, Board President Burns, Board of Trustees, Dr. Chong, fellow colleagues. It's been a crazy month in our county and the college. There's really not more to say about the craziness, but our classified professionals keep going despite the craziness, which I'm proud of. But one recent craziness that stood out for the classified professionals was the DL staff email exchange that produced hundreds of emails, making their work environment very difficult. Classified Senate met that Friday after the PCC meeting and supports the decision to put the DL staff all on suspension until we can come up with an alternative extended policy on collegial responses and finding an online forum to use for free speech. One comment from a faculty at the PCC meeting was if that email had not come out, there wouldn't have been any discussion. And so it was a good thing that that comment came out. But at the same time, we need to find a way to express those opinions where it's not making our email into the abyss. So, so it makes us take pause for a moment on the good thing that came out of that, and then also how we can move forward. Classified Senate would like the college to move forward with possibly some kind of public online forum, like the that's outside the college email for free speech and discussion and awareness. Classified Senate uses that DL staff all for events such as the Giving Tree program, and without the email distribution, it will be very difficult to get that information out to the college-wide community. And so Classified Senate voted last week to revise our bylaws to change the president's term of office from 4 years to 2 years. That was revised just before CC Jones took presidency. We now can move, and that was approved, and we can now move forward with holding our elections before the end of September, and hopefully I'll be introducing a new president in October, and you won't have to have me annoying you anymore at these board meetings. The needs assessment and climate survey that I've been talking about for the last couple of months is now being reviewed by SEIU, and the Senate is now uncertain of when or if this will be brought forward at this time. So with that said, stay healthy, stay well, and that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Kathy. All right, let's go ahead and move over to SGA, Delachey Benson.
Thank you, Board President Burns. The first day that I came back to SGA this year, we were hit with a bomb of knowing that we would have to cut our budget by 18,000+. So also last year, the percentage of homeless students that I was told was 25%. I'm sure that that percentage has gone up higher. We're also dealing with students who are hungry and jobless, COVID, the transition still of online that students are having difficulties with the fires and shutdowns. With all that being said, there is no way that we would be supportive of a stipend of $15,000 going to President Chong at this time. And I was sitting here listening to all of the report with the new houses and the new buildings that are going up and everything that's going on in Petaluma, and I love it. It's beautiful, I love it. But what I didn't hear mentioned was the campus at Southwest. And it seems like the Southwest campus is constantly being ignored. That's just heartbreaking that still here, we're still talking about Southwest and it's still being ignored. I hope that that changes and that next month when we hear from Fernandez, I believe his name was, that we hear an update on Southwest campus. I'll definitely reach out with him and talk with him prior to then, and hopefully it will be in the report next month. With that said, that concludes my report for right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you, DeLachey. And move over to Sean Martin, AFA.
Thank you, President Burns. I'll start on a positive note by reporting the AFA Executive Council's recent endorsements of Propositions 15 and 16. Both propositions received overwhelming support among AFA counselors, as we expect the passage of the first to address the longstanding inequity in the tax code and provide for much needed resources for the college. And we expect the passage of the latter to provide additional options in our efforts to meet the demands for more diverse and representative faculty. On a related note, AFA is pleased to report steady progress in collaboration with our district partners to negotiate and implement tangible provisions to support equity, diversity, and inclusion at SRJC. These provisions include the development of numerous special assignments designed to provide critical support for students and faculty working to address the equity needs of diverse populations in our community. We fully expect these provisions and related positions to contribute to the mission and values of the college. AFA is also working with our colleagues in Academic Senate ahead of efforts to align our committee structures, including those in shared governance, with legal requirements under the Education Code and labor law. In these discussions, we've identified specific ways to improve our committee structures while reducing the number of committees, minimizing redundancy, and better integrating input from all constituent groups engaged in the process, including in the development of policy. We look forward to working with our district colleagues, along with our other constituent groups, implementing reforms that will better serve the mission and values of the college. Regarding the effort to attract and retain more diverse and representative faculty, it's clear that we have a long way to go. It's evident in the data presented at this afternoon's listening session that we're making greater progress in the area of full-time faculty than adjunct faculty. We're convinced this is no mere correlation, but reflects the structural conditions at SRJC and in our community more broadly. As pointed out by several speakers in today's listening session, candidates considering an adjunct position at SRJC are faced with numerous obstacles. Some of those obstacles are no doubt related to our recruitment and retention procedures at SRJC, but others are related directly to material conditions. To wit, the salary and benefits adjuncts earn at SRJC are insufficient to meet the high cost of living in Sonoma County. To make matters worse, there are few options for adjunct employment in Sonoma County. Most adjunct instructors are burdened with the heavy student loans and other liabilities associated with earning qualifications needed to serve as a member of the faculty. Unlike adjunct faculty in more densely populated areas who can piece together part-time work among multiple institutions of higher learning, SRJC faculty must have either alternative means of housing and healthcare and income, or resign themselves to travel long distances to piece together work at institutions throughout the Greater Bay Area. In short, it makes little sense for a qualified candidate to relocate to our region without some material incentive to do so. Candidates for full-time faculty positions face similar material obstacles, though to a lesser degree. Data from this morning's report offered by our Human Resources Office indicates we're better able to recruit diverse faculty for full-time faculty positions. Thus, AFA urges trustees to consider actions that would increase the number of full-time faculty positions while also providing more secure benefits for adjunct instructors. I'll close my report with some thoughts regarding incidents of discrimination, harassment, and other misconduct on district email and at other district venues in recent weeks. AFA agrees absolutely that harassment and discrimination are unacceptable wherever they happen. The contract between AFA and the district, along with state and federal law and district policies, all prohibit such discrimination and harassment. These laws and provisions entitle all faculty and other district employees to a workplace free of unlawful harassment. Further, we believe adherence to these values and legal obligations is entirely consistent with support for faculty rights to free expression and the exchange of ideas under the standards of academic freedom and the First Amendment. To this end, we fully expect our district leaders to address each instance of unlawful discrimination and harassment in a swift and effective manner consistent with contract policy and law. We know our colleagues in human resources and elsewhere face enormous challenges and believe they're taking this duty seriously. Such action is crucial to build confidence in these systems so people can engage in their professional responsibilities without fear of being targeted by acts of unlawful hostility. We also urge the district, as well as our faculty colleagues, to foster respect for the critical use of evidence in our policy discussions. Too often, vague and unsubstantiated data produced by unsound methodologies stand in place of genuine evidence. In numerous recent instances, innuendo, hearsay, guilt by association, defamatory personal attacks, and numerous other irrelevant appeals have contributed to an uncivil climate unbecoming of an institution of higher learning. We can do better. AFA is committed to working with our district colleagues to this end. Thank you for your time.
All right, thank you, Sean. And we'll move over to Sandy Sagala.
Can you hear me? Okay. Good afternoon, President Burns, Board of Trustees, Dr. Chong, colleagues, and community. Hope everyone enjoyed the Day of Labor Movement reminder that's dedicated to social and economic achievements of the American workers. Labor Day, as we know, constitutes a national tribute to the contributions that workers have made to the strength, the prosperity, and well-being of our country. Appreciate the acknowledgement. I'd like to begin my report alerting you that SEIU Classified Executive Council, we continue to hold our brown bag meetings for all classified professionals to attend. And it has been quite successful so that we have decided to schedule a second brown bag meeting during the month on a different day at a later time for those who are not able to attend at the end of the month and will now have choices. And due to the success of the second meeting, at least for now, SEIU has decided to continue to hold a second brown bag meeting during each month. These meetings are to update our negotiations on the contract and any other updates that the Executive Council learn from meetings that are held with the district and that we are able to share with our classified professionals. And then we'll open up for questions and answers. In preparation for the upcoming November election, SEIU just endorsed 2 of your Board of Trustee candidates a few weeks ago. And we also endorsed Proposition 15, the School of Communities First. If it's passed, SRJC will receive over $8 million and its ongoing new revenue, and in California community colleges, nearly $500 million each year. It would have a significant impact in maintaining services and jobs, supporting students. We should all be in support of this proposition. SEIU also endorsed Measure O, the County of Sonoma Mental Health, Addiction and Homeless Service Measure, Transactions and Use Tax Ordinance. I also want to share appreciation to the email that was sent out by Dr. Chong last week to put a pause on the DL staff on email. Many of our classified professionals oppose these emails as they take over our computers and takes away from our daily work, and topics are very unconsciously hurtful. We all need to work together for positive change. We need to have open minds as we work through the discomfort towards growth learning, and as we avoid the judgment and understand the pain and injustice many have suffered due to racism and discrimination and where we are today in our society. Thank you for the pause until we can work this out. And finally, an agenda item for today, and with all due respect, I need to address the contract of employment for our superintendent president. Many classified professionals do not agree with the board to approve this right now. As I've stated in recent past town hall meetings, that due to the current budget crisis, it's not a good time to add outstanding high paid salaries that we need to hold off for a later time when the budget is better. Classified feel their voices are not being heard as the district continues to fund high-paying salary positions that we just can't afford right now. The reason why we proceeded with the ERI in December was to keep from layoffs. The district's reorgs are still ongoing, still trying to finish up with the first phase of the reorg. And I don't even know what phase we're in any longer, but reorgs are continuing to happen as we work towards keeping folks employed. I want to remind the board that during a budget crisis, it's concerning that the Board of Trustees would consider additional compensation for our superintendent. At the same time, SEIU is not a fight to take money away from employees as we pay to keep employees employed, yet an allowance of a $15,000 stipend designated as an incentive to keep someone here employed is a bit disturbing during our budget crisis. SEIU is working with the district to prevent layoffs while looking at small sizing, downsizing the college, and what will that look like? Currently, the budget will get us through this current academic year. It seems like we're counting our eggs before they hatch if Proposition 15 is passed by the voters in November or not. But we were just gambling if this is what the board is thinking. It is understood that according to the president's contract that there was a 5-year retention bonus built into the previous contract that now no longer exists. Now, in order to place an incentive for our president to stay employed, the SRJC, the board will be approving this stipend, even though it will not take effect until 2022. So I am reminded that the previous president had volunteered to take a 10% pay cut during the budget crisis. This is a community college president position. I hope the board has looked at salaries around other community college president salaries and confirm if SRJC is on track or not with current paid salaries for this type of position. SRJC president's salary already is quite healthy, as it also includes all the benefits that we receive. I hope the board makes the right decision. Thank you for your attention today, and this ends my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Sandy. Let's go ahead and move over to Hillary Zarate for our management liaison.
Hello, good evening, Board of President Burns, members of the board, Dr. Chong, colleagues and community. I know this is a really long afternoon for you, so feel free to stand up and stretch if you need to. But as a member of the management liaison group, I address you today on behalf of the 84 management team employees at SRJC. I believe we can all express our gratitude for continuing employment amidst the global pandemic and for continuing to serve our community during this time as we share the value of education. It has opened countless doors for me personally. One example is my undergraduate and graduate education has put me in contact with people from all over the world. I have learned how to appreciate and esteem other people's cultures and perspectives, whether it is something that I can understand or need to learn more about. And SRJC is no different. Although I have not agreed or understood recent sentiments, I respect working in an institution that speaks out against hate. In other news, I wanted to highlight specific managers. Jeannie Dolberg, with the loss of the federal grant, the HOPE program will be winding down after 5 years. Jeannie and her team have served over 770 students since the inception of the program. The program helps students, especially first-generation students, navigate the college experience and successfully complete their studies to lead important and rewarding careers in the health sciences in our community. Most years, the HOPE program had a 100% persistence rate and is about 98% fall-to-fall persistence with good academic standing, averaged about 96%. Jeannie's passion with the program and students led her to secure a number of additional grants to truly provide wraparound services to these students. Mengistab Gebre, Manager Custodial Services. Who's working in person and serves all 5 SRJC properties. He also makes himself available on the weekends when there is an emergency call, like a refrigerator has to be moved because the power is out. Currently, he's leading the efforts to keep SRJC sanitized and safe for those who are on site. Mengi and our dedicated custodial team are working hard to sanitize and deep clean the college. They are showing up every day to ensure that all sites are clean and COVID-19 free. While we have been remote, Mengi has led his team sanitizing areas in hazmat suits, cleaning every high-touch area in the district, and catching up on a multitude of projects that there is never enough time to complete when the campus is occupied, like planning for the future and shampoo scrubbing. And I wanted to share a little bit of Mengi's story. He came to California in 1983 and was an SRJC student when he met one of the ESL faculty, Raul Guzman. Mr. Guzman encouraged him to learn English and complete his associate's degree in mechanics. Since then, he has been a custodian, custodian tech, coordinator, supervisor, and now manager of custodial services. He is also the proud father of 4 educated adult children, 3 of whom have graduated at SRJC. Zara Sonkenar, Marsha LaBroucherie, Brenda Dixon, Susan St. Clair, and Carolina Nazario, the executives are the president and vice presidents. Nearly everyone can identify our president and vice presidents by name and face. Behind each of these individuals is a strong right hand that makes sure everything runs smoothly. These executive assistants are an integral part of the work that is undertaken by our administration and our superheroes. They are proactive, collaborative, and intuitive, and our district is fortunate to have these important people in these principal roles. And then Josh Adams, he's our Dean of Curriculum and Educational Support Services, also a Public Safety Training Center. He's also involved in enrollment management, tenure review. He's on the faculty district negotiations team. He's a father of 2 young children. He's really a committed administrator who's leading the college in scheduling and curriculum issues for the district. So thank you all. Your work and dedication is appreciated. So currently, managers are recalibrating for what higher education means amidst the racial justice movement, climate change, and remote instruction. We are intending to be wise in the moment and also plan for the future. The ultimate goal is to serve students with multiple crises and be the stabilizers in the unstable environment. Managers are also busy setting up shared governance committees, experiencing our first academic year meetings, and attending various statewide webinars to stay informed. That is the end of the MLG report.
All right, thank you, Hillary. And that concludes our report section of the agenda. And we will move on to our consent calendar. So we've got consent items 1 through 12. I'll start with, is there any items that any trustees want to pull and put to our action agenda? All right, are there any public comments on the consent calendar? All right, are there any board comments on any consent calendar? Trustee Battenfeld.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick comment on C4, the Career Education Advisory Committee members. I already actually talked to some people, and I have support that, you know, next year, I think it's an area where we can again look more. I looked at the list and we've got some great community supporters, but I think we can do a lot more to encourage more diversity in like BIPOC owned businesses and individuals. And I think it will give us more diversity in our feedback and also give us and our faculty and staff more connections to more diverse groups in the community. So I'm looking forward to that happening next year.
Thank you. All right, do I have a motion for the consent calendar?
Move to approve consent agenda items C1 through C12.
Second.
Okay, a motion by Trustee Edgar, second by Trustee Battenfeld. Roll call vote.
Student Trustee Toscano.
Aye.
Trustee Battenfeld.
Aye.
Trustee Edgar.
Aye.
Trustee Fishman.
Aye.
Trustee Cundy.
Aye.
Trustee Lindley.
Trustee Lindley.
Aye. you hear me?
Trustee Martinez,
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye. All right. Motion carries 7-0 with the student trustee voting aye as well. All right, let's go ahead and move over to our action calendar. D1, personnel actions for September 8th, 2020. A motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion by trustee Lindley, second by trustee Edgar. Roll call vote. Is there any discussion on the item? And any public comments? Okay, roll call vote.
Student trustee Toscano.
Give me 1 second. Quick question. I didn't hear. Which one was it?
This is on action item number 1, which is personnel actions.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I thought we were on 2. Yes. Aye.
Trustee Battenfeld.
Aye.
Trustee Edgar.
Aye.
Trustee Fishman.
Aye.
Trustee Kundy.
Aye.
Trustee Lindley.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye. All right, perfect. Warrants, July 17th, 2020 to August 13th, 2020. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve action agenda item A2.
Second.
All right, motion by trustee Edgar, second by, I believe, trustee Fishman. Any discussion? Any public comments? All right, roll call vote.
Student trustee Toscano.
Aye.
Trustee Battenfeld.
Aye.
Trustee Edgar.
Aye.
Trustee Fishman.
Aye.
Trustee Kundy.
Aye.
Trustee Lindley.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye. That too passes unanimously. All right, and the 2020-2021 budget for Sonoma County Junior College District. Let's get a motion and then we'll go to, I know Kate's presenting. Let's get a motion.
So moved.
Second.
All right, and then I will turn it over to Kate Jolly for, or Frank, do you have anything or you want me to just turn it over to Kate? All right, turning it over to you, Kate.
All right, thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
All right. I think we start all our conversations with that nowadays. Okay, so good afternoon, President Burns, member of the board, Dr. Chong, and colleagues. I'm happy to present the 2020-21 adopted budget to you for approval. Oops. So, sorry. Okay, there we go. For 2019-20, after we had overall reductions of $7.5 million, we had budgeted to spend down about $10,500. Now that we've closed the year, we actually added about $359,000 to our fund balance, which leaves us with an approximate 6% of our expenditures. So looking at our unrestricted general fund expenses, almost 66% was in salaries, with our academic at 40%. Classified came in around 16, management around 8, and then our other came in around 2, and that's students, ST&Cs, et cetera. Benefits came in about 22% of our expenditures, bringing our total salary and benefits to 88% of our budget. In comparison, that same number for 2018-19 was 89.2%. So we really have made some remarkable progress in bringing that percentage lower. When looking at the breakdown by function, as expected, over 75% of our money is spent on instructional activities and support and student services. Of the remaining expenses, 20% fund the district administrative functions, and the other 5% funds community and ancillary services, as well as support for our other funds like paying for our retiree benefits. So before I start on the 2021 budget, there are a couple areas that I always get questions on that I just wanted to explore. First are the impacts from COVID-19. We have received 3 allocations from the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, or the CARES Act, including we got a federal institutional portion of 2.97 million, and a corresponding student portion of that 2.97 million. And then because we're a Hispanic serving institute, we also got another 405,000. So altogether, they gave us some really significant support. We also got an additional 2.12 million from a state block grant allocation that had a combination of federal and state funds. These funds covered the majority of our 2019-20 increased expenses from COVID-19 and are anticipated to cover the majority, if not all, of our increased expenses in 20 and 21. We are also very grateful to Cal OES for their donation of PPE to us in July, especially because we're having such a hard time finding supplies. So we received N95 masks, cloth masks, face shields, thermometers, a bunch of hand sanitizer, and my personal favorite, 1.1 million surgical masks. Our warehouses are full at the moment. So the largest COVID impact, though, by far is our lost revenue. Going remote has had a large impact on our student fees, fundraising, rental of our facilities, sales, and many other areas that just rely on normal operations being open and functioning in order to generate revenue. The second area I get questions on are the deferrals and what they are and what does it mean to us. From the $1.5 billion in deferrals at the state level for 2020-21, the district's portion is 27.2 million. What it means is the cash paid to us for general apportionment and for the C program will be received in 2021-22 instead of in 2020-21. This creates a cash flow issue, not a budget issue, since we're still owed the money. To address that cash flow deficit and to be able to have enough cash to pay all of our bills, we are planning to participate in Tax Revenue Anticipation Note, or TRAN program. This will allow us to do some short-term borrowing on the securities market in anticipation of receiving our property tax allocations in December and April. We will join a combined pool to achieve reduced issuance costs and are currently exploring 2 different options to get us the best pricing. As a note, we have always had cash flow issues in November and March while we wait for our major tax revenues to come in. We currently have an agreement with the county treasurer to allow us to be negative in our cash accounts as long as we are positive by year end. That's just not possible under the deferrals because they cross over fiscal years. So the TRAN also has timing requirements based on when the maximum negative cash amount is anticipated to be, but we will be waiting as long as possible to reduce our borrowing costs. We currently anticipate bringing a resolution to the board in December to authorize our participation. The final area I get a lot of questions about is our long-range plan and where we are with it. I'm happy to report we've actually made some really significant progress. We have reduced a total of 13.6 million and are over halfway to our goal in just 2 years. This is some really impressive work done by the entire college community. However, we have had a lot thrown at us this past year, which impacts our ability to carry out our plan as originally planned. As anticipated, since so many people took advantage of the opportunity to participate in the early retirement incentive, we are not currently seeing the number of retirements we were used to. This limits the number of positions that can be eliminated or reorganized to create the needed additional savings in the non-instructional areas. We also received an extension of our fire waiver through 21-22, and the state budget that was just passed allowed for an extension of the funding formula hold harmless provisions until 23-24. These have both given us a little extra breathing room to be able to execute the plan. So based on these impacts, we now need to tweak things a little bit. When this plan was presented 2 years ago, and knowing that a lot of things can change in 5 years, I highlighted the need for flexibility for unanticipated events. This flexibility and these changes allow us to lower the anticipated reductions in 2020-21 to 1.8 million and extend the plan by 1 year into 2023-24. You'll see that in my assumptions. So moving to the 2021 adopted budget. All budgets are built on major assumptions for both revenues and expenses. For 2021, the revenue assumptions include our budgeted district enrollment is at the 19,451 FTES under the fire waiver. We are anticipating no COLA and no deficit on state funding. We do have an interest loss from the deferrals from not receiving the cash. The revenue loss from the COVID closure, so that's all of our parking, facility rentals, and all the other things I mentioned earlier. And then we have an elimination of STRS on behalf revenue. So under GASB requirements a couple years ago, we had to bring in The payment that the state was making to STRS on behalf of our faculty, both as a revenue and as an expense. That has now changed. Those requirements have changed. So we get to account for them in the year-end process instead of in the budgeting process. So you'll see a corresponding expenditure assumption here. So I also would like to point out that the potential for reduced revenue from spring of 21, if we remain fully remote, is not included in any of this and would need to be addressed. We're currently looking at various options and advocating for some additional funds, and we're not entirely sure what spring is going to look like. So on the expenditure side of the budget, our assumptions include negotiated increases to salary schedules. So this is the 0.31% that was given to the faculty already. We are still in negotiations with our other groups. So there was a lab equity increase. This was a workload study that was done quite a few years ago with AFA that has been phased in. So that increase is included. We have our normal step and column salary adjustments. The state, as part of their budgeting process, allocated funds from their budget to help buy down what the increase would have been for our STRS and our PERS. So for STRS, we actually saw a rate decrease down to 16.15%. PERS, we saw an increase, but it was a lot less than what we had anticipated it would be. We have our other uncontrollable cost increases. We've got utilities, credit card fees, insurance, those kind of things. It is an election year for the board, so we have that every other year. We have a $200,000 increase to a transfer to our retiree benefits fund. We've seen an increase in both some negotiated changes as well as the number of people under the ERI that qualified for the early retirement option, which increased our cost there. We do have our health benefit cost increases. Again, we're still in negotiations with some of the groups, but we've included some in our budget. And then we've got the reductions under the long-range plan, under the revised long-range plan. So we still have the $500,000 that was anticipated for the schedule of classes and is currently being worked on. We have another $500,000 in operating expenses. And then we have $810,000 to non-instructional positions. And then we've also got the elimination of the STRS on behalf expenses. So here's a breakdown by type of major level revenues and expenses for the 2021 unrestricted general fund. These include the federal, state, local revenues and our transfers, as well as our academic salaries and classified salaries. So these are a little different from the chart that I previously showed because this is budget based. So the academic salaries include the faculty as well as any educational administrators. Classified includes any classified professional as well as any classified managers, and then the benefits and the remaining items. So when you add that all up for 2021, we have a budgeted spend down of $396,000, which leaves us with an ending fund balance of 5.5%. So while our focus is usually on our general fund, we also have 10 other funds that we operate. These include the Child Development Fund, the farm, the auxiliary enterprises, which is where all of our food commission money goes into. You will notice that it is remarkably smaller on the revenue side in 2021 since we're not on campus. We've got our parking fund, both of our capital outlay, which is the capital projects, which you'll see a remarkable increase there because of the funding from the state for the Lindley STEM building. Measure H, and then our self-insurance and retiree benefits, as well as the student ones, for student rep and student center. I will note that for 41 for capital projects fund and for Measure H, because these are permission to spend, we actually budget to spend the entire amount just so that we're not hindered if we want to get into some projects. And then in Fund 69, which is the retiree benefits fund, you'll see the increase of $200,000 for the cost of the retiree benefits. So additional information can always be found in the budget book attached in board docs, and both the book and this presentation will be available at the budget updates page on the accounting website. And that's the end of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, any trustees have any questions? All right, seeing none. Any public comments on the item? All right, seeing none. Oh, I got one public comment, sorry. Stephanie, and Stephanie, if you could state your full name for the record when we get you in here.
Hi, it's Stephanie Arciero.
All right.
I was just going to say a big thank you to Kate because I thought that was such a clear presentation and very easy to follow and just really greatly appreciated. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Stephanie. Any other public comments or questions from the board? All right, no, I just wanted to thank Kate also. It was a well put together presentation, and yeah, thank you for everything that you're doing during this time and throughout the year with our budget. All right, we've got a motion and a second. It's a roll call vote.
Student Trustee Toscano.
Aye.
Trustee Banfeld.
Aye.
Trustee Edgar.
Aye.
Trustee Fishman.
Aye.
Trustee Cundy.
Aye.
Trustee Lindley.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye. All right, perfect. Next item on the agenda is the ratification of employment contract amendment for superintendent president. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, I'm not sure who motioned that. Was that Trustee Cundy? Trustee Lindley?
Yes.
Lindley.
All right, Trustee Lindley, second.
Actually, I made the motion. Well, whatever, that's fine.
All right, well, I heard Lindley and Cundy at the same time, so we'll do Trustee Lindley as a motion, Trustee Cundy second, and then board discussion. I'll just, if there's any questions by the board or comments, I'll go ahead and lead this off just to give some clarification, because there were, I did see several emails come in regarding this item, and then some comments, public comments, and then in the reports from SEIU. So just for clarification, I just want to mention this is the amendment to Dr. Chong's current contract, not raising or changing his base salary. It's a retention bonus of $15,000 that would be paid out if he stays employed with the district through June of 2022. So it's not going to be in this year's budget. And so it doesn't affect any of our budget. Hopefully, I'm hoping as a board member that our budget is even better in 2022 than it is now. I'll also just mention, you know, a lot of the decisions. So when looking at this, as the board president, it's my responsibility to act on behalf of the board when negotiating items with the CEO. And so, you know, for me, when I was looking at this, it's really taking into account of the cost of if Dr. Chong was to retire, if he was to, you know, change jobs to a different community college district. And so just a little bit of my own research on the Community College League of California. There's a study from 2018 on CEO tenure in the community college system. And the average cost of just a search for a new president for a community college is $78,769 on upwards of $160,000 to replace a CEO. So, you know, looking as far as cost savings, not saying that Dr. Chong would be retiring this year or next year had he not, you know, had we not agreed on a retention bonus. But, you know, that's a lot of cost savings, $15,000 to keep Dr. Chong around for at least 2 more years versus spending nearly $100,000 on a search. That being said, also in the same study, you know, the overall tenure in California for college presidents is 7.7 years, and in the last 10 years it's declined to 5.2 years. with a third of the college presidents changing college districts, so taking a job at a different district. Funny enough, in the same report, Sonoma County Junior College District is recognized as being the longest average tenure in the community college district, in the California Community College District, with an average of 16 years. And so that's, you know, nice to be able to be not only recognized in the study, but to continue that legacy of only having so far 5 CEOs in the past 100 years. So with that, I will turn it over to the rest of the board if they have any comments or questions. Trustee Fishman.
No, I would just say that, make sure that people understand, and I like how you did that, Jordan, is this is not a salary increase. We honor President Chong. We're glad he's president of this school. We want him to stay. I thought it was that most presidents stay 18 months in schools before they switch. So I support this measure. I understand the comments people made. It was what we as a board came up with, that does not include an increase in his salary, being sensitive to the climate that we're in. But we want Dr. Chong to stay. We appreciate what he's done for Santa Rosa Junior College. And there's that. That's all.
Thank you, Trustee Fishman. Any other comments from the board? All right, any public comments on this item? All right, I've got P. Colas, if you could state your name.
Yes, my name is Patty Collis. I work in IT at the JC. And good afternoon, President Burns, members of the board, Dr. Chong, and the college community. President Burns, while I can understand your explanation of a retention stipend and the cost of recruiting for a new president, I feel that this is really bad timing. I understand that we want Dr. Chong to stay, but Dr. Chong made a commitment to this community that he would see us through these challenging times, and that didn't hinder on a stipend. So if Dr. Chong is going to stand by that commitment, we shouldn't have to, or you shouldn't have to approve a stipend to retain him. We are in unprecedented times. We have been asked over and over to make budget reductions. We had an ERI, we're in the middle of a reorganization, and in the process of reducing the size of the college. So why we're considering this now, even though I know it doesn't vest until 21-22, why can't we wait until next year to review this again and make a decision on that stipend? It might only be $15,000, but as previous people have said, there are students who aren't getting things because we are making budget reductions. There are staff who are lacking supplies that they need, all of these different things. And secondly, the manner in which this notification was communicated is a little unsettling. This was sent out Friday after 5 p.m. on a 3-day weekend. It doesn't give our constituent groups time to really have a meaningful discussion prior to this board meeting today. It's an untimely notification to the SRJC community. And it gives the impression that this was sort of a calculated move to strategically slip this under the radar and get the board approval. So I'm just really concerned that we are making decisions like this and we're not out of, even though Kate has presented a really well done budget presentation, we're not out of our challenging times and troubled times. So what I would like the board to reconsider and not take a vote on this today and wait until next year when we have to adopt our budget or when it's the appropriate time to consider this stipend again. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Patty. Any other public comments? right, turning it back over to the board. Just a couple clarification things. One being, I don't believe that, so I'm not sure exactly when our agenda was posted, but the email that was sent out Friday late afternoon with a revision to the agenda, that was actually for the information item that I asked to be added there with the policy 2 point, I don't have it, I'd have to pull it up, but it's our last item on the agenda. So that was not previously posted, and in order to meet the Brown Act requirements, a revised agenda needed to be sent out. That's the one that was sent out late on Friday, adding that item. This item has been on the agenda since it was originally posted. Don't know when it was originally posted, but usually we post the agendas Tuesday or Wednesday of the week. And then any other comments from the board? And so just one other clarification is I just want to make it very clear that Dr. Chong hasn't threatened to leave the JC or anything like that. And, you know, and so for me, and I don't know about the rest of the board, it was mostly of I know that Dr. Chong has said that he's going to see us through this challenge. I'm also not blind to see that this is also affecting, you know, 71 other community colleges, and that there are a lot of colleges that actively look for good presidents and offer them, especially basic aid districts that can offer a lot more to presidents than we can. And so, you know, this again is for me, a small token of, hey, hang with us for at least another few years, and maybe we can, you know, retain him even longer beyond that, but to ensure that this troubling time. So, any other board member?
Yeah, I've got a comment.
Okay.
And I understand everyone's angst, and I get it, but they have to understand, looking at it from the other side, now is not the time to be out looking for replacements, or if Frank were to leave, Dr. Chong were to leave, or whatever. Now's not the time to do that. You have to protect your home front, and I believe that's what we're doing here.
All right, any other board members before we? All right, this is a roll call vote.
Student trustee Toscano.
Nay.
Trustee Battenfeld.
Aye.
Trustee Edgar.
Aye.
Trustee Fishman.
Aye.
Trustee Cundy.
Aye.
Trustee Lindy.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye. All right, that passes with a 7 votes in favor, and the student trustee nay. All right, next item on the agenda is resolution 24-20 in the matter of elimination of certain positions in the classified service and positions on the management team. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
And discussion?
Just clarification, is this the one that reinstates the HOPE program? Yeah. Frank's nodding yes.
You're nodding yes. I think you're
Nodding
muted.
yes. Okay. That's what I thought. I mean, that's exciting, actually. Okay.
All right, any other board member discussion? Any public comments? All right, and roll call vote.
Student trustee Toscano.
Aye.
Trustee Battenfeld.
Aye.
Trustee Edgar.
Aye.
Trustee Fishman.
Aye.
Trustee Cundy.
Trustee Cundy.
Oh, I'm sorry, aye.
Trustee Lindley.
Aye.
Trustee Martinez.
Aye.
Trustee Burns.
Aye. All right, and then resolution 20-20 requesting authorizing ratification of ground lease and coordination agreement between Sonoma County Junior College District and NCCD, Santa Rosa Properties LLC for the development and operation of student housing and authorizing necessary actions in connection therewith. And do I have a motion?
Move to approve.
All right, I've got, all right, Trustee Edgar motion, Trustee Battenfeld second, and then I've got Pedro. Dr. Chong, you want to introduce it or just turn it over?
Pedro Avila is going to introduce. This is a real milestone step in us moving toward the completion and building and initiation of our student housing project. And I want to appreciate Pedro, Kate Jolly, and Robert Enthington for all of their good work on this. So I'll turn it over to Pedro now to explain to you what you're voting on.
Good afternoon, President Burns, Dr. Chong, members of the board, our college community. This is our annual report on the Student Equity and Achievement Program, also known as the C program. This is the 18-19 outcome report. And just so you know, I'm going to be co-presenting here. I'm going to introduce it and then hand it over to Lee Collier. Who's our
Pedro, I don't know if we're on the right item.
We're on D.
I think we're on action agenda item A6.
Yes, this is the resolution for the student housing. And then up next is the C program with in the information item.
I believe this is Kate, right? Kate, you're taking the lead on this one.
Yes, yes.
We've been here a long time. It's okay.
We don't have a presentation for this, but what you have before you for approval is the ground lease agreement, the coordination agreement, a representation letter, and a continuing disclosure certificate. Those are all of them that we will be a party to. So what that does is that creates the ground lease with NCCD, which is going to be one of our P3 partners, and will be the owner of the building that will be leasing the land from us. And then there's the coordination agreement on how all of the program will be run. The letter of representation is just stating how some information about the district, and then the continuing disclosure certificate is just stating that we will continue to disclose what needs to be disclosed in EMA and the Municipal Securities Relation Board for the bonds. And then there's additional information on there for the limited offering memorandum and just some other information that we wanted you to be aware of.
Perfect. Any board questions, comments? Any members of the public on, this is action item number 6, the resolution. All right, and we'll get to a vote here in a second. Yeah, go ahead. Let's go ahead and do a roll call vote.
I'm sorry, Jordan, President Burns, I don't know that I have a motion or a second.
I was motioned by Trustee Edgar and then seconded by Trustee Battenfeld.
Thank you. Student Trustee Toscano?
Aye.
Trustee Battenfeld?
Aye.
Trustee Burns?
Aye.
Trustee Edgar?
Aye.
Trustee Fishman?
Aye.
Trustee Cundy?
Aye.
Trustee Lindley?
Aye.
Trustee Martinez?
Aye.
All right, there we go. Sorry, I jumped the gun on there, Pedro. I saw you get priming the pump right there, and you were right there. So you've been so involved in the student housing project up to this point. Figured you had something to say about it, but that's all right. So let's go ahead and move over to our information items. First up is the C program update and our 2018-19 outcome report. Now I'll turn it over to you, Pedro.
Thank you. So this is our annual report on the C program, and I'm going to be co-presenting with Dean Lee Collier, who's our counseling of who's the Dean of Counseling and Student Success, and also co-presenting is Dean Robert Holcomb, who handles the academic piece of the C program, and together they work in managing the C program. So I'm going to just quickly, I wanted to go back and just talk about the history of the C program, because we have this program that provides the college with funding to address issues of student success, equity, and diversity. The origination of the C program goes all the way back into the 1990s, what we used to be called matric or matriculation. Colleges used to get money based on head count to support student services in staffing to be able to provide students with support in the application process, student orientation, the counseling services, the educational plan, and also registration. And then in 2006, the state implemented what was called the Basic Skills Initiative. And that was the effort to try and address remediation. So if you remember, students used to be placed up to maybe 3 or 4 levels below college level English and math. And many of them struggled to get to the college level course and then pass and be able to complete their degree or certificate. So that was the Basic Skills Initiative, or also known as BSI, of 2006. And then in 2012, they modified matric and converted it to what they referred to as a Student Success and Support Program, or Triple SP. And it was a lot like matric, except instead of funding us based on head count, they wanted to give us metrics. So they were funding us based on the number of students who applied, number of students that enrolled, number of students that took placement tests, student orientations, and also how many were seeing counselors. So we were counting all the counseling visits, and then that generated revenue that would fund these activities. So that was Triple SP. And then in 2013, the state provided the student equity program that really focused on having colleges address equity gaps within certain ethnic groups and address disproportionate impact in completion, success, retention. And in 2018, under the new chancellor, under the new state chancellor, they decided to merge these 3 programs under what's called the C program. And it's a combination of a Triple SP, and then Basic Skills became AB 705, which is a whole different initiative that eliminates basic skills, and it uses GPA for students to be placed into English and math courses. And you still have student equity piece that's part of that. These are the state requirements for the C program. We're still responsible to the state, even though we don't have the metrics that we used to have, but we have to have an equity plan, which we update annually. And the equity plan has to specifically address the disproportionate impact of our student populations. We're still responsible in providing matriculation services to all students in support of the application, placement, orientation, and counseling. And they specifically call out number 3, which is making sure that all students have an educational plan. We went from about 5 years ago, I think about 60% of our students had an ed plan, to now we're about 93, 94% of our students have an ed plan. So we've made a huge improvement in the ed plan area. And that continues to be a very important piece, because all the research shows that students with an educational plan have a higher completion rate than students without an ed plan. And then number 4, which is labeled incorrectly here as number 1, AB 705, which is the implementation of placement into English and math based on GPA rather than a test, and also the change in sequence of courses for the students that are being placed into English and math. So before I transition over to Lee, who's going to talk about the program and some of the outcomes, I wanted to take a moment to talk about the demographics of the C program employees. Because I think in the current conversation about diversity and how we're diversifying our staff, the C program has been very successful at hiring and funding our employees of color here at the district. So this here is a comparison of district employees versus C program employees. And you can see that the C program employees are very diverse in comparison to the district. So I just wanted to take a moment to recognize the contribution that the C program has made in helping the district bring in employees of color to our district. And that is important because when you compare our C program employees with their student population, this is what it looks like. it's almost an exact reflection of our student demographics. And I believe that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for having a diverse employee population that our students can relate to and can identify with. So I just want to say, I just want to commend the effort of the C program of not just supporting students, but also making sure that we have diversity within the program. So the C program supports all students, but it also supports very specific underrepresented populations. And there's very specific initiatives that are aimed at low-income first-generation students, our various ethnic groups. It supports our learning communities, the Intercultural Center, undocumented students, our Dream Center, our LGBTQ initiatives, veterans, homeless students, students with disabilities, and also our foster youth, and also our Second Chance program for formerly incarcerated students. So we make a very specific effort to make sure we're supporting those populations that are underrepresented students. And these are the metrics, additional metrics from the state, how they measure the success of the program. So they look at access. They're measuring how well of a job we do in helping our local students enroll at the JC. Our student retention, from how many students continue from fall to spring, and also the completion of transfer level courses. Completion of math and English during the first year is one of the metrics that they look at. Our overall transfer, and also the completion of degrees and certificates. So I just want to highlight, so this is, when we talk about access, I really want to highlight this graph here. This is new data that we just received from the Department of Ed and also internal data. What you see here is the blue graph, the blue bar chart is the number of 12th graders by year in Sonoma County public schools. So you'll see that in the last couple of years, there's been a dramatic decline in 12th graders in Sonoma County. I believe that's because of the fires. I think younger families are moving out of the area, but we knew that we had a declining population in the 12th grade, in the high school population period. We have been putting in a lot of effort in outreach. As you know, a couple of years, 3 years ago, we put together a student outreach team specifically to focus on the high school partnership and making sure that we're getting this yield rate of high school population coming to the JC. And you'll see that in the last couple of years, we've had a pretty dramatic increase in the number of 12th graders that come to the JC post high school. We've gone from 35% up to 43%. It's an 8% increase in 2 years, this is really impressive to be able to accomplish that kind of increase in a couple of years. What's really important about this, and the reason I want to highlight it, because when you have a declining high school population, you want to increase your yield rate. We've managed to maintain the number of new students coming to the JC at the same rate. We get about 1,800 students that are coming directly from high school to the JC. Even though we have a smaller population to work with, we still have the same number of students that are coming to the JC because of our high yield rate. And that's a combination of outreach. And I also want to commend academic affairs. A couple of years ago, we decided to move our registration process much earlier. And we decided to allow students to register for the fall semester in April. And that was intentional because we were trying to capture high school students before they graduated high school. And it's really paid off. So I just want to highlight that. And I want to give kudos to academic affairs, everybody that was involved with that, and also our outreach team. And now I'd like to transition this and introduce Lee Collier, who is our Dean of Counseling and Student Success. Thank you.
Hi, everyone, Board President, trustees, and college community. I want to use this opportunity to share with you some of the highlights that the C program has accomplished. When we look at a C program, as you saw, you heard from Pedro, it is what we consider a student's journey through our college. Before they come, when they first come, how do we get them through SRJC with their goals? So we have these programs. These are not exhaustive list of the programs, but some highlights of the programs that we do. Once the students come to us, we provide extensive onboarding support through welcome centers and through the non-credit student service office in Southwest Center. We provide them from registration to sign up for classes. So these are the student service folks that put themselves out there, and they really are very passionate and very patient with the students and help them to get through the first steps. And that also includes the financial aid process as well. Often could be very overwhelming for them. We also have peer coaches, and starting Petaluma, now we have in Santa Rosa as well. So the whole district, we provide peer coaches to provide students the one-on-one support that they need, continue on the engagement, continue on to the guidance. Also build a sense of belonging through many different programs. Dream Center, Intercultural Center, learning communities, those are the few ways that students build sense of community, of a belonging. And we also look at the students' needs both inside and outside the classrooms. Academic support is always very important for the academic success. We also recognize there are a lot of impediments students face that are outside the classrooms. So from food insecurity to mental health support needs, we are learning materials, especially in this pandemic. And we provide, C program provides extensive support to these students. In this pandemic time, we also try to be very flexible with what forms of direct student support we provide. And you will later see how much, in one aspect, in the food part, how much we do. Next, please. So this is the report that we sent it to you. This is the annual report for 2018-19. We are usually one full year behind. 19-20 data has not fully come to be available yet. So every year we evaluate how our program is doing. And under the C program, we have many projects and initiatives we support, from academic support to non-academic support. We always review it very carefully with the Office of Research. We look at how projects are doing both on the state and the local measures. The 5 state measures that Pedro mentioned earlier about access, about persistence, about completion, but also in the locally, we have set out goals that we want all our students to feel welcomed, invited, guided, supported, engaged, and empowered. And those are student goals that we want to evaluate. So we measure ourselves against these metrics. We recognize that the results here, would say it may not be causal effect, but consistently, we have seen this positive correlation with C supported students versus district average. And this is one of the big one, fall to spring persistence. 89% for C supported students and 65% for district average. So it's a big jump for the persistence, and that's the first step towards completion, right? So we are very happy to see that result. It has been for several years now. And this is really a hard work and collaboration from many, many departments. We support probably about, I would say about a couple dozen departments directly involved in this C supported work. And that's a result of that collective accomplishment. Next, we'll show you some matric stats. Pedro has mentioned about app plan. As you can see, the app plan, the last line about continuing students, and now we are at a 95% of the continuing students having an app plan. Back in 2014, when SP first started, that we strengthened the counseling department. At that time, it was only 43%. So that is more than doubled now. So we have a very high rate of students now receiving app plan. We want to focus on whether students will have a comprehensive app plan in the next couple of years, so they have from beginning to end, have that clear pathway laid out.
The next ones we're going to show you on the assessment piece. That is a big change, as you heard from Pedro a little bit. The next one will be on the assessment. We have served. Pedro, next slide, please. Yes, on assessment, as you can see, this number is a huge number. Pretty much all students now receive a placement either through high school GPA or through guided self-placement that faculty in math and English and ESL they have designed. So students, once they have this placement, almost all of them have access now to transfer level of math and English to start with that. So that has really kind of propelled us into the first year completion for transfer level math and English. Altogether with orientation, assessment, and education planning, these matric services have consistently shown positive correlation with not only persistency I've seen, but also reducing equity gaps and shorten the time to completion. So in the next few slides, and Dean Robert Holcomb is going to share with you how the AB 705 and other academic achievement we have reached through this program support.
Yes, thank you, Lee. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Chong, college community. Again, AB 705 was a major state initiative that allows students to place directly into transfer level math and English without having to fulfill prerequisites. It's a major paradigm shift in higher education, and we're still in early stages of implementation. But the C grant was a key resource to AB 705. It funded faculty work toward curricular revisions and development of co-requisite courses. It funded conference travel and professional development. It also funded communities of practice through which faculty got together and kind of reimagined and reshaped our course sequences in English and math and ESL. And it continues to fund concurrent academic support, which is a major component of AB 705 through the PALS integrated peer tutoring program. Colleges were required to institute changes under AB 705 by fall of 2019. And even with all of our local distractions, challenges, wildfires and otherwise, we were able to be in compliance by that timeline. And the slide below, I wanted to point out that we work closely with the Office of Institutional Research to measure the impact of C grant programming. And one way we analyzed the data was to compare course completion rates between students who participate in C programming with a like sample group of students who do not. And what's illustrated in the graphs below is a positive correlation between participation in C programs and higher course completion rates. And that's across various target populations, which are indicated below. Now, when you analyze data at such a broad level, it's hard to assert a pure causal relationship, right? C programming isn't the only variable here, but we do see a pattern. And so we can infer that C programming is having a positive effect on student learning. In addition to this, we also disaggregate data, looking at subsets of populations by gender, daytime versus evening students, full-time versus part-time, to see how multiple variables intersect. It's a type of statistical analysis called multiple regressions. And so all of this data informs the direction of our programming, the way we leverage resources to increase equity, student achievement, educational outcomes. Next slide, please. And what we see is that some equity gaps are closing. We see increased course completion rates among African-American and foster youth students, increased degree completion among African-American and DSPS students, and increased transfer rates among Latinx and Native American students. So there's still lots of work to be done and a road ahead, but these are some promising signs of this important initiative. So with that, I'll turn it back over.
Thank you, Robert. So those are the few highlights that you have seen from this annual report. And then one of the things I mentioned earlier is that students often face barriers for learning from basic needs. So This is one of the ways that you have seen that students receive support outside the classroom is through food. In the last few years, through Office of Student Life, we have reached out to more and more students in providing them in reducing that food insecurity. So last in the 1819, you see that almost 110,000 pounds of food being distributed. And that is a really remarkable work that we have done to support students. We have had several occasions of hunger-free nights, and we have a regular CalFresh program, so we encourage students to sign up. So I think the words are going out, more and more students are participating. So that's great that we can lay the foundation for them to academic learning. So with that, I really want to appreciate again for everyone who have supported the program and participated in supporting all these initiatives. And thanks to the whole entire college community. So we can take some questions.
Any questions from any board members? Trustee Fishman?
I guess I'm a little confused. I thought, and I don't know why I thought this, that almost all the students were part of the C program. How do they become part of the program? Is it a choice? And then there was the one slide that said, I don't know, 98% of all students do an educational plan. I'm wondering where I need a Venn diagram maybe. Where's the intersection? So are students invited in, referred in, choose to be in? Because I didn't understand from the district to the C program.
Very, very good, Trustee Fisherman. That's a very good question. On the matriculation service side, that is where we reach most of students. You see the orientation, you see the education planning and so on. And those are the ones that we reach out. Most of the students, we not force them to, but really it's pretty much close to mandated because students are given registration priorities if they have fulfilled our orientation assessment and an education plan. So outside of these programs, the matriculate ones, the other initiatives, whether they participate in learning communities, whether they participate in the intercultural center, whether they have utilized a peer coach and so on, those are pretty much by their self-selection.
I see, okay, all right. This is a really important explanation. I'm sorry it's at the end of this board meeting, but I really appreciate you sharing this information.
Thank you.
All right, any other board member comments, questions? Student trustee Toscano?
For some reason, on my iPad, it suddenly wasn't letting me raise my hand. But since I work with the Peers Coalition and I work in the Intercultural Center, the Office of Equity, I have been a part of the C trainings and will continue to be part of the C trainings now going on my second year with the Peers Coalition. And I do want to speak on behalf of the program. It is a really good program that trains and informs a lot of the student leaders that also reach out to students, better equips them with the skill set needed to address various types of students, whether it goes from mental health to what students face in their daily lives. So as a student who goes through the programs, I really appreciate this program and happy for it to start soon in the next couple of weeks again.
All right, thank you. Trustee Battenfeld.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify what Pedro said, and again, thanks for the report. This was really helpful, and it's nice to see some of the successes and some of the issues getting a little better in spite of the challenges. But so you talked about AB 705, but this isn't data from last year, correct? So the real impact of AB 705 we won't see till next year's report. Is that right?
Right. Right. So AB 705 began implementation in fall of 2019. And so we're still in a very early stage of development, and we'll start to be seeing those impacts as well.
Right, because we don't have, this report doesn't have the numbers from 19 to 20 from last year.
Right.
It's the year before. Okay, so we're kind of a year behind, but it still looks good. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? All right, thank you, Robert, Lee, Pedro, for the presentation. It was a very good presentation, very informative. Yeah, thank you again.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, last item on our agenda is board discussion on board policy 2.13P. Frank, I'll go ahead and just kind of have you kind of introduce policy and some of the stuff that happened last week. Are you there, Frank?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, early in the summer, we had some issues around DL staff all, and I had asked for kind of a voluntary stop on it. And recently, we had an incident with a faculty member calling out for diversity training, and another faculty member responding in not so civil way, and it's caused a whole flurry of DL staff all emails. Not just with this incident, but many other ones. And after consulting with my VPs groups, legal counsel, and others, I made the decision to put a suspension on DL staff all until we can find an alternative format, because I was receiving many emails from classified and faculty about the fact that they were having a hard time doing their jobs when their emails were cluttered with issues that, albeit important, were not something that they had wanted to be included in. So I think we need to find another alternative, and I really appreciate the classified, both SEIU and the classified Senate supporting this. I know I've gotten about 40 emails from faculty themselves, and they've also, for the most part, largely support the suspension. There are some people that are concerned about the lack of a venue to talk about important issues such as race and other things. And we made a commitment to work with our collective bargaining groups, both SEIU and AFA, to work out some protocols and some alternatives. And I'm very excited actually about things that we can develop rather quickly, I think, because the technology is there that wouldn't entail DL staff also. That's the update that I have thus far, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or concerns that the board may have.
Thank you, Frank. I'll just kind of start us off here. Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, you know, I know that some of the trustees were on the DL, we are part of the DL staff all list, and you know, and I've shared this in the past that, you know, when I first came on board, you know, I added myself to the DL staff all and was on there for quite a while. Almost 2 years ago when I became president of the board, there's other responsibilities that, you know, are needing a response pretty quickly. And I found myself, even with the limited number of emails that I get in the JC email box, the DL staff all was really kind of pushing down, missing some important emails that I needed to respond to. The other thing, you know, just kind of as far as the concern of it, and I know that, you know, I've heard a lot of support in, you know, us finding a different platform. Let's try to figure out how we can work through this issue, because there are some important topics that come up on the DL staff all. And, you know, and then I've also heard a few comments as far as, you know, the appearance of trying to limit free speech or anything like that. And that's definitely not the intention here. You know, there are important topics, and I shared this at PCC the other day, where, you know, it's important to remember that, that we stay civil, that in any discussion that we're having, it can't turn from talking about an idea or a topic to a personal attack towards people. And that's where some of these, not all of them, but some of these conversations would take a turn. You know, it was, there was a good topic, good discussion going on, and then somebody would say something maybe that is in the minority of the comments, and that would be either attacking or receiving, on the receiving end of an attack. Personally. And so that's where, you know, we need to find out, you know, for people that don't want to participate in this, these discussions, that's also their right. There was a faculty member that, and which I really appreciated the comment, was that we do have the the right to free speech, and that's important to value that. But the right of free speech doesn't come with the right for the to be given an audience, and that's important for us to remember that everybody has the right to free speech, but you can't force your speech on people that don't want to listen to it.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying, President Burns, and we're going to work very quickly. I'm meeting with my cabinet tomorrow morning to try to develop some brainstorming, and any suggestions that the board or others would have, we welcome them, and we'll be getting suggestions already. But I think people just feel the pause and the relief of not having to be put upon and not having asked to be part of a conversation, to be thrusted into it, is rather stressful. And I have to attribute it to what Stanley said too, a member of our faculty, that we're in the middle of COVID, Black Lives Matter, a very heated presidential campaign, people, and now the fires. You just keep going on and on, and it's raising everybody's anxiety levels. So I think it's a relief to many that we don't have to come to work and have to deal with this right now. And I'm confident we'll figure out a solution, and I appreciate the board's understanding. And I take responsibility for not addressing it sooner, because I said after the summer that we were going to get something done, and it wasn't, and then another flurry happened. So that's on me, nobody else. And I appreciate the board's patience, but I think we did the right thing, and we're trying to figure this out. And I think there's a lot of smart people in this college community, and we will figure it out. And I'm confident working with AFA and SCIU and the other constituent groups, we'll come to some hopefully happy medium. Yeah.
Perfect. Trustee Battenfeld?
Yeah, I just want to echo everybody else's comments. And to me, I've been involved in education too a long time. To me, I've always had distinctions between, emails that are for communication and information, which is normally one way. Here's things you need to know. And then having a separate forum, usually is moderated, where you actually have a discussion. To me, DL staff doesn't even work to have discussions. It's not moderated. You can't have discussions. And we do need a place, whether it's sanctioned by the college or completely separate. I leave that to groups to figure out, but I do think we need to separate out the informational part of school emails from needed discussions. And just reviewing the policies. I read the policies, and I see some things on DL staff that aren't even allowed by the policies. And so I think we do need to review them, and I'm glad that all the constituent groups are willing to be involved, and I think they'll give us good feedback, and hopefully, again, we can do something again fairly quickly, although we're trying to do a lot of things fairly quickly these days. But I appreciate everybody's willingness to do this, and I think it'll help us be a lot more unified and productive as a campus.
Perfect. Any other members of the board? Any comments? All right, perfect. Yeah, I think that'll do it, unless there's anything else to go to the order. All right. Thank you, everybody. I know it was a long day today with listening session, closed session, and then open session. So thank you for everybody sticking with us, and we will adjourn and until next time. All right, take care.
Good day, everybody.
Bye, everybody.